Animal rights activists are not going to stop with that. They're going to keep going. They're going to say no one should be able to own these animals ever. And that I do not agree with. No one can say that a baby tortoise isn't cute. And that happens to be one of the reasons why they're sought after so much in the pet trade. What do I think? Do I think it's a smart thing that PetSmart actually decided to no longer carry baby turtles and tortoises, or turtles and tortoises in general, and offer them for sale to the public? That's a challenging and difficult topic. I obviously breed turtles and tortoises and I sell them. So on one hand, I think it kind of stinks, because how are young people going to get involved and learn to love reptiles? When I was a kid, my dad got me my first turtle when I was 6 years old. It was a red-eared slider that I got at a pet store in Levittown, Long Island. And I was so happy. I had that turtle from 6 until 13. And the turtle actually wound up getting out of an enclosure that I built in the backyard. And it was a very sad day for me. So that turtle never actually died. It just escaped. I was much younger then, and I didn't know how to build correctly. But here's PetSmart's kind of idea, or they were responding to pressure from animal rights activists and different animal rights groups, which on the surface can seem like they're helping out, but underlying, there's a lot of control issues that they're trying to enforce. I personally believe in personal freedom, and I believe that if you're doing the right thing for the animal, if you're going about it the right way, then you should be able to own an animal and care for the animal and breed the animal, as long as you're not turning into something like a puppy mill or looking for just total profit. I gotta be honest, the animals that I sell, I don't sell a lot. Over the course of a year, I'm not making a lot of money selling turtles and tortoises. What it does is it supplements the costs that are involved in keeping this place running and keeping these videos going. And basically, I do it more as a hobby. Now, if PetSmart decides to stop selling turtles and tortoises, that means a couple things. It puts pressure on some of these wholesalers, okay? So wholesale reptile distributors who aren't necessarily breeders themselves are going to feel the pressure. What they do is they go around and go to the reptile shows, and they'll go to breeders like myself. They'll buy as many babies as they can, and then they tack on another price. They try and buy them at a lower price in quantity, and then tack on a price, and then sell them to pet stores all over the United States and sometimes the world. And I'm not so sure I like that, and I'll tell you why. When they come and take these animals from the breeders who know how to care for them, who have proper setups, who are really intimately acquainted with the species they're producing, they take them and they put them in tubs. They put them in temporary enclosures, and they could sit there for months before they're actually sold to the pet store. And then once they're in the pet store, they sit for months in a fish tank or some kind of enclosure. And if it isn't a proper reptile store that knows how to care for these animals, then of course the animals are going to start to deteriorate. They're going to get unhealthy from being in the tubs in the distribution center and then going into pet stores where the employees and the owners don't really know how to care for them. And that's why PetSmart decided no longer to carry them, because their employees really aren't skilled with reptiles. To own reptiles is a very big privilege, and it involves a lot of very hard-earned knowledge. It's a specialty. Reptiles are different. They require different care. They're not like a mammal, a dog or a cat, or in some cases, not even like birds. They're very specialized, and you have to know a lot about them in order to give them the proper diet, proper husbandry, lighting, all kinds of things that we discuss on this channel. So, in one hand, it's bad for the distributors, bad for PetSmart, but on the other hand, it's still legal to buy turtles and tortoises. You'll just probably have a more difficult time finding them. But if you're watching this video, then you are really kind of someone who's super passionate about them already. So you're probably going to reptile specific stores or looking for breeders online like myself, Garden State Turtle and Tortoise, a lot of different people that work with these animals, but do it ethically and do it responsibly, where the animal's care comes first. And then we transfer our knowledge to you. You see these videos, you can interact with us, you ask us questions, and we give you answers. So it's very important. So on one hand, yeah, I do kind of agree that maybe these big box stores shouldn't be buying a specialized animal that needs to be cared. But here's the problem. Animal rights activists are not going to stop with that. They're going to keep going. they're going to say no one should be able to own these animals ever. And that I do not agree with. Even if I wasn't breeding them, they should be bred because, for example, this is a Burmese star tortoise. This animal is critically endangered in the wild, but is being bred in the United States, and that's important work. Even if they're being bred for commercial reasons, turtles alive is better than turtles dead, in my opinion. The other thing that I've often said is a sulcata tortoise, for example. The female lays quite a lot of eggs. These are an animal that are very readily available quickly. You've seen them in big box stores. Problem is, they lie to you and say they only get as big as their environment. Now that's not good. We know they get big and big fast. So this cute little turtle in 2 years could potentially be 5 pounds, and in 10 years you could potentially have a 50-pound tortoise tearing through your inside house or digging holes in your backyard. And if you don't want to deal with that, you do not want to buy this animal. You want to look to instead a redfoot tortoise like the one I have here. They stay smaller, they're easier to care for, you can pick them up easier, and they're more friendly and gregarious, and they're awesome. Now, I think breeding turtles and tortoises is important because, as we've figured out and we know in a lot of other videos, the fact is that these animals are under threat of extinction. They're losing the battle to habitat loss. Here's baby Grandis. Look at this little baby Grandis I brought out so you guys can see. Yeah, these animals are losing the battle in the 21st century for overcollection for the pet trade, from habitat loss, things like that. And you know, what we need to do is ensure that these animals are on Earth for years to come. And that's going to take not a hands-off approach, it's going to take all hands on deck approach. And that means the conservation biologist out in the wild saving habitat. It also means private keepers like myself doing my part and using my knowledge to make sure these animals are doing well. For example, we've got a bunch of redfoots here. Most of the redfoots here I actually took in as surrenders. People didn't want them anymore. I took them in. Now there's a limit to what I can take in and what I can't. The other mission here at the camp is, of course, with all of our amazing habitats, I don't buy animals anymore. I work with different zoological institutions, and they send me the animals, and they are forever residents here. Okay, so I'm working to help out zoos. So private people like myself who have the ability and the space to care for these animals, you have to get involved. It's so important. It's got to be everybody working together. You got to have an industry that makes money working with the industries that are focused on protecting them. So working with zoos, working with breeders, everyone working together to ensure that we're keeping things alive. We're keeping these animals alive into the 21st century, but more importantly, we're doing it ethically, okay? I don't believe there's a problem in selling reptiles or selling baby tortoises as long as you're doing it ethically. You're not lying to people. You're not telling them that these animals grow to the size of their enclosure. You're giving them the proper information about diet and husbandry. All the enclosures at Kamp Kenan are large enclosures. They're big, they're spacious. I don't take on more than I can handle. We've got the gators over here. We've got the caiman over there. We got Slinky and his crew in there. And we have the opportunity to continue to grow and to continue to kind of create habitat for these amazing animals. A lot of turtles and tortoises are endangered, and we have some of them here today. We've got the radiated tortoise. We've taken in the Mexican box turtles. We also took the Tabasco mud turtles in. We're giving them a home while they're being figured out and where they're going to be placed permanently. Cherry head tortoises. We've got the Badiger. We've got the Arau turtles. These are all highly, highly endangered animals that would have nowhere else to go if it weren't for myself and the other people that I work with. Like, of course, Garden State Turtle and Tortoise, my friends Chris and Casey Leon up in New Jersey. They're doing their part. The Turtle Room, Anthony Perileone, he's doing his part. Charlie Moorcroft. These are all private people that have banded together our passion to really keep these animals alive, keep them healthy. And I think it's okay to sell baby turtles ethically. I'm being as transparent as possible. It's very, very important, because when we stop being able to sell these animals, what happens is you create a black market. And we've seen it. When you say you can't take these turtles, you can't sell this species, we see the price go through the roof, and that means criminals will do anything they can to steal and sell and smuggle these animals. So I am for 100% ethical, responsible, and education-based selling of these animals so that people can really help keep these beautiful animals alive. And if you have the means, you can then graduate to more difficult or larger animals to care for, like of course the Aldabra tortoises and the Galapagos tortoises. Do you know how much of an honor it is for me that I get to work with different zoological institutions, and that these institutions have chosen me, a regular Joe from Long Island, New York, who moved down to Florida 26 years ago just to play and build out his personal reptile dream, that they trust me with animals that have a high dollar value and, more importantly, a high conservation value, like Phantom, the Galapagos tortoise. So it's a big deal for me, and I want to inspire the next generation of reptile lovers to do what they can. Maybe you can't do it to the same level that I am, but maybe you can go even bigger. And that means good things for our reptilian friends. So that's my view. I hope it makes sense to you. Let me know what your comments are. I really would love to see where everyone's at on this topic. It's very, very important to me. And I hope it's important to you, because without these animals and without caring for them, I ain't got nothing. All right, everybody, I'll talk to you real soon. Don't forget, go to patreon.com/Kamp Kenan, where you can help me support these animals by producing videos and educating everyone. Oh, and you'll get to chat with me every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, live. See ya.